Servus and welcome to the Word of Marketing Jobs podcast, where I am taking you on a journey of job awareness, consideration, and application. And in this episode, I'm taking more of the education path because I'm currently in the last stretch of my master's program, Digital Marketing Management at Rennes School of Business. And for that, I thought it would be a great idea to invite one of the brightest and also one of my dearest professors, Ljupka Naumovska. Hello.
Hello, Sonia. Thank you for inviting me on your podcast.
Of course, it is my pleasure always to talk to you. And today we will talk about your role as an associate professor and academic director of master and PGE programs. So, as I'm understanding it, you're not only lecturing about marketing, but you also are coordinating all the masters and PGE, which stands for Programme Grande École. So, in France, this involves bachelor's and master's together. So tell me a little bit more. Is that right?
Actually, yes, it's very much correct. And thank you for choosing the right words to simply describe the situation around the higher education in France. Yes, I sit in two chairs. I fulfill two roles at this moment. I'm an associate professor in the field of marketing, and normally I teach digital marketing related courses in a master level. But also, I'm starting from last academic year. I'm the director of the Master and PGE 2 and 3 programs, which in terms of equivalence, PGE 2 equals Master 1 and PGE 3 equals Master 2 in the French national educational system. What does it mean to play the two roles? Although it sounds very complicated, I don't want to disappoint anyone, but it's actually two very complementary roles. I'm being honest. They're very complementary roles. While the first one includes more teaching and some research in the field of digital marketing, which is also very, let's say, dynamic. That means that we are in a field that is highly affected by the evolution and the revolution. Marketing has been one of the disciplines that has been the most severely attacked by the technological revolution. So we as professors, we are also learning as we are progressing and creating content for the courses. That includes very predictable schedule. Well, the schedules are already set for the next academic year, so now I know exactly where my classes are taking, when and where my classes are taking place, because we are distributing the sessions in both campuses, Paris and Rennes. So that part is very dynamic, very interesting, very reactive, fulfilling, but also predictable in terms of activities. The second role I'm playing, the academic director of the master and PG programs, is I wouldn't say so predictable, and it's around managing the portfolio of the masters. As you mentioned, we have program Grande École and specialized masters. As you, Sonia, as an international student, you are one of the many international, much valuable students for the DNA of Rennes School of Business in one of the most popular masters of digital marketing management. In terms of number of students, it comes as the second most popular, while the first one is international finance. We have 9 specialized masters, and I'm trying to manage them all now. And program PGE, which is a master in management. We call it master in management, while all the rest are specialized. What does it mean to manage a portfolio of masters? It means that we have to make sure that our students are getting the knowledge, the theory, and the skills, which is not the same. Knowledge and skills is complementary set of benefits, but they're not exactly the same. So skills and knowledge for the master they are pursuing in the context of what skills and set of knowledge is required on the job market. So my major mission is to make sure that the course list, the selected courses, the course content the way the course content is delivered, and above all, the way the course is being evaluated, the exams are aligned with the requirements of the job markets. On another level, that has to come in another, that needs to be seen in an aspect of the complexity of the academic requirements and restrictions. We are being strictly monitored not only by the Ministry of Education, but also international bodies in order to deserve the accreditations the school has. So we are working under a very strict given frames while trying to be very much unframed in the way we deliver the knowledge. So in order to do that, we are also trying to involve as much as possible the industry in the classroom, to bring the industry in the classroom and to bring the students outside of the classroom in order to apply their learned knowledge. So I also need to make sure that the theory is well aligned with the application of the theory, if possible, immediately, meaning that whatever theoretical frameworks they're learning by actually moving through their learning journey, we need to make sure that they are very good in applying those set of skills they gained throughout the studies. And on the final part of my relatively short description of my second part of the job is that we are also trying to obtain as more as partnerships with academic institutions, but also business partners that can actually help us as a school and help our students achieve their learning objectives. So this is a very short and I hope simple description of the two roles I'm playing here.
Yes, definitely. So we can really see the school motto of unframed thinking coming through, and especially with the offer of apprenticeships, so work study programs,
That
which
are
in France.
increasingly popular in France, and as you already mentioned and you already have experience, they are increasingly popular. Although it's not so easy to be a student who is on a apprenticeship program. I believe you can confirm that.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about adapting. What are the needs of the school? What are the needs of the company? And then in the rhythm of 2 or 3 weeks at the company and 1 week of the school in school to really tackle all that is needed, writing a master thesis, for example, or delivering some presentations. So it's definitely challenging, but definitely a very enriching way of doing a master's in general.
It's definitely very fulfilling for the student. I can see how the students are growing in front of our eyes, and it's one of the most beautiful parts of our job, seeing students growing and believing that parts of it is because of your work and your impact. It's really rewarding, but it's not an easy journey, we must say. Also, the full-time journey has their own advantages. It takes a different tempo, a different way. They have much more homework that compensates for the hours they have in the days that you have your companies. But both have their own benefits, let's say.
Definitely. So let's come back more now to your job.
Okay.
And the next element in my podcast is the this or that exercise. But
All
in
right.
your case, since you're in education, I think I need to rename it a little bit. So this or that or another, in case this or that doesn't fit.
Let's try.
Perfect. So B2B or B2C?
70% B2C and 30 B2B, let's say. I'm more gravitating toward B2C. It gives much more variety and complexity and challenges and options. And B2B can be based on the rules of B2C. So let's go for B2C.
Okay. SME or large corporation?
I cannot say both, right?
Small or big campus? Let's
Yeah.
rephrase it.
Medium toward big?
Mm-hmm. Are we local or international?
Oh, definitely international. No hesitation here.
Agency or in house?
Agency.
Full stack marketer? or are you a specialist?
I go for specialists.
Do you work in a small or a big team?
Um, Medium, let's say. For some activities, the beauty of this job is that for different tasks, you create different set of teams. So sometimes I
Mhm.
work intensively with professors only, and sometimes I work only with people from management and administration. But in most of cases, we learn that smaller teams should be normally are more effective. So let's go small teams.
And the last one is, do you work structured or are you flexible?
Me, I'm definitely flexible. I'm the least like structured person I've ever met.
Good to know. If you were to craft a job slogan for your associate professor and academic director role, how would it sound like?
It should sound like a marketing slogan, right? It should be
Yes.
fancy. I recently was part of a meeting where probably the inspiration for this answer will come from that meeting. And I think the best way to describe my colleagues, my colleagues and my work currently is turning the potential of students like you, Sonia, or Erwan, or any student in the Rennes School of Business or any student in general, turning your potential into a impact, either local or global. So the point is to turn what you have as talents, as knowledge and skills into something that will create a difference, either small or big, or on a long run or a short run. So turning talents into impact.
It's very nice to hear. And very inspiring also from a student perspective that you have someone at the top that really cares for the welfare of the students, that knowledgeable students come out of the program. So very, very good to hear.
I think it's reverse. We're also very much, we don't say this often as we should, but we take a lot of inspiration from you.
Thank you. So how does your day-to-day work look like? A day in the life of Ljupka Naumovska.
Well, should I start from the moment I wake up or?
More
Yeah.
towards your tasks in your job and
Yeah, let's say that I'm trying not to be late every morning. And often I do succeed, but let's say the day can have, if a day is full of teaching, the answer is very simple. I teach 3 hours in the morning, I get my lunch, and then I teach 3 hours in the afternoon. Um, I usually like to divide my days into teaching and admins because when I do both in one day, I don't see myself very successful when I move to one task to another one. Although I do love to multitask, but not in the same day. So I'm trying to have my teaching days and my admin days. If I have no teaching the day, that means my day is full of meetings or workshops or tasks that I need to complete on the behalf of the meetings or on the behalf of the department. So normally my day will start with early morning preparation for a small or big meeting. After the meeting, milestones come to be completed. So I tend to, if I'm leading the meeting, I tend to send the commitments and the milestones immediately because I don't want them to disappear. So I tend to send the notes from the meeting immediately, which means it's taking 25 to 30 minutes after the meeting. And meetings here usually are taking place around 45 minutes. We're trying to keep them short and sweet. Then if I have the lunch is usually semi-formal because we do have a school canteen, as you probably can assume, where everybody is with everybody. So normally the topics are again around work and school and activities. Then after the lunch, we have another important or meeting or two, depending of the length, which creates milestones and topics to be discussed. If my day is the third variant, I have this when I have to create projects, or I have to work on activity that requires a lot of thinking and creative work, and it's not necessarily connected with colleagues. I tend to be alone, and for this, I'm either working on my office completely alone, or I'm taking teletravail, and I do it in my own private space, because that's a completely third mindset. And what is the most interesting part is that when I do my teaching, my brain is resting from the other two. When I do my active proactive meetings and I'm exchanging a lot of ideas with my peers, colleagues, and my superiors, that's completely different set of energy. And then I'm resting from the teaching. And then when I'm performing a very creative task, for example, like yesterday, and I had to present this project today, which went very well, and that's why I was late for this podcast. And then that gives me another identity, I would say, another perspective that gives me a space to breathe and to rest from the first. So I would say that I have three types of working days, and I find them very complementary, although they do sound very diverse. And while doing one, I'm refreshing my brain for the second one. And when I'm doing the second one, I'm getting my rest for the third one.
Very interesting. What tools do you use to organize these three parts of your job or your day?
Well, I'm using I have a confession to make. Well, I'm using a lot of Copilot and ChatGPT for structuring my thoughts, my ideas, or validating whatever is happening, especially for the third type of activity when I have to have my creative thinking validated or cross-checked or structured. I'm also using all tools of Microsoft, absolutely everything. I'm lately using a lot of Power BI for analyzing notes of students and identifying any deviations that we don't want to see or want to see. So Power BI is an amazing tool. I'm using a lot of Canva for my classes. I'm using still PowerPoint. I'm using SEMrush for some of my courses. I'm using Google Trends. Uh, Microsoft Forms, Word, yeah, Google Forms I'm using. Then we are all in Moodle. When I'm teaching in partner university, we're using Blackboards as well. I think I mentioned all.
So
I
a
think
lot of tools to help you tackle your day. Particularly interesting is for me, of course, the AI aspect, because it's often discussed how to use AI in a university context. What is your point of view on that?
well, it's a very touchy subject currently.
Mhm.
Well, I have been part of, let's say, a good amount of meetings discussing how are we going to deal with that. And I still stand on the same position that the battle is lost. We have to surrender and we have to accept the winner, and the winner is the I. And we cannot deny it, we cannot forbid it, we cannot say don't use it. On the contrary, we should encourage future generations to know how to handle it and to control the tool, right? It's a tool, it's an assistant, let's be honest. It's not a I will not replace us. It will replace certain missions and certain functions. It will assist much better than we assume, but it's still going to remain assistant. And we should treat it as one, not as an enemy, not as an invader. So, but I will definitely replace a lot of written forms, so a lot of essay, a lot of written case studies, a lot of things related with final projects, unfortunately. So we are we're reframing the rules of how students should use AI. We don't say how students should not. How students should use artificial intelligence. In the academic writing, still the referencing is not clear, although the discipline of research is very much progressing on the way how do we reference a content generated by the AI. However, it's not the only solution. I think we should find a way to use it properly, to use it ethically and correctly, and still try not to jeopardize our creativity and critical thinking. It definitely is going to slow down the critical thinking we are used on having, but it doesn't mean that there is not another way to encourage critical thinking, creativity, individuality, curiosity, and research. I'm sure there is. We don't know it yet. Nobody does, to be honest. I've been doing some homework. I've been doing some research for another purpose, not for this podcast, but for another set of meetings. Not even the best rated top 10 university have a solution for it. So nobody does. And we're just struggling to find the best possible solution. But definitely, I'm sure the solution is not to forbid it or to ignore it or to punish students for using it. Unfortunately, it's also very, very honest to say that the generations you belong to are much more native with these tools than we are, and we should be very honest about it, and forbidding you to tell to use a new emerging, by the way, fantastic tool. We should all agree that it's a fantastic tool. It will make our life so much easier. It's for so forbidding it's a nonsense. So my point is to accept the victory of the I, to accept where we stand, and to accept the changes that are occurring, and find a way to develop or sustain critical thinking and creativity and individual curiosity in a different manner, and accept what I is already offering.
Very clear. So let's come back now to your job again. What three tasks would you say are not part of your job that you're happy to delegate?
I'm happy to delegate. They're linked to my work, but not really my job.
Mhm.
Let's say one of them would be accepting individual meetings with students, which I have to be honest, it's not part of my job. It shouldn't be the case, but I sometimes do it. Another would be dealing with non-pedagogical demands by students or student or group of students. I don't deal with that. My colleagues will gladly do, but I'm in the loop in a way. And maybe the third would be animating students outside of the curriculum. That will be someone else, but we're related, but that's not part of my work. Outside of the curriculum will not be my task.
Makes sense. If I want to become you,
Mm.
how should my job persona look like to tackle your daily jobs the best way possible?
Let's divide the answer in two parts. Let's say the first part will be your soft skills. Your nature should be extrovert. I don't think my job can be done by an introvert person. You should love working with people and students and people who are willing to grow. So you have to have a decent amount of patience, but also a decent amount of mentorship and ability to push students who are emerging and growing into the right direction with a delicate way of dealing with the complexity that that process brings. So you have to love people. You have to be love to be surrounded with groups and amounts of people. You need to love to speak because my job requires talking all day long. And then it requires a skill for multitasking, which I'm not sure if it's a soft or a hard skill, but anyway, you need to love working on very diverse projects happening at the same time, sometimes overlapping, and thinking about two or three at the same time. So your brain needs to be activated in minimum 3 to 4 different projects who are not always similar and complementary. They're sometimes contradicting. Moving toward the hard skills, my job, I'm sure it requires a strong academic background, a PhD, higher education, master and PhD, and then it requires an industry background, which I have both, and maybe that's why I was offered this job as well. So industry experience was definitely helpful because this job revolves around partnership, revolves around energizing the theory with practice. So having the two backgrounds, professional, academic and professional, it's going to be very helpful. And maybe the third will be someone who is humble enough to say that I'm happy to learn from you, Sonia, although you're more than 20 years younger than me. So I'm really happy to learn from you. And every exchange is actually uh, giving me an opportunity to learn about my work and sometimes even about myself in a completely different way. So humility is very important because, as I mentioned, every summer I'm revising my courses. Every summer I learn something new. That's why I'm often implementing in class, classroom learning, where everybody learns from everybody, including me, sometimes from you. So it takes a personality to be humble enough to say, I'm learning as much as you are, or we are all learning at the same time, but also curiosity and discipline to actually learn in order to have an ability to oversee everything that is happening now and probably will be happening in the next 5 months or 5 years.
Very interesting. And I think that's what really makes a good teacher, that it's really on the same level with students and eager to learn from each other. I think that's a very enriching way, or how the school would describe it as unframed thinking, because I feel like it's not in every university that teachers like to be on the same level or look into the eyes of the students or look through the eyes of the students. So
The keyword describing your generation is authenticity. I don't have, we have the choice. So authenticity will be the way to speak with you, the way to collaborate, and the way to pursue our work at the end. So that's why it's very important, I think.
let's go now towards a summary to the job value proposition, where I will give you a little fill in the gaps exercise to grasp your job even better than we did in the last couple of minutes. So, an associate professor and academic director helps
Students,
by reducing
confusion,
and increasing.
clarity.
Very clear. So maybe three golden nuggets. We heard about AI, we heard about a shift in learning, in teaching, in working. How can I still do the job, or how can you, better said, do your job still tomorrow as well as, or even maybe better as today?
That's a great question. I'm going to repeat what I said on the two questions before. I think the keyword is humility. We all need to know that we are in a stage, no matter if it's a question directed to me or somebody who is building houses or somebody who is running a restaurant, we should all be humble enough to continue learning. I think we should be opening our eyes and breaking our egos, no matter our titles, our high and fancy titles, we should be learning. So in order to keep my job for the next year, I have to learn. I also have to have a very intuitive skills in order to predict the future, if that's even possible, but it requires some sensitivity, some mindset to predict the future and see how things will evolve, because we are living in times of double evolutions. Let's say we are talking only about a technological revolution, but on the other side, we have very complex geopolitical situation that is impacting the world, maybe even in the same level as the technological evolution. And then we have the environmental evolution, which is currently, um, I wouldn't say the third place, maybe the equal, but still we have three active evolutions. So assuming where things will evolve is definitely something that might be as a set of skills or an aspect that will help us pursue our job properly in the next 5 years. And I don't want to sound lame, but I also think that another aspect will help us continue being good at work, and that's kindness. And I think it has never been more important to be kind to each other. First of all, to others, but then to ourselves. We talk a lot about communication skills. We talk about a lot about soft skills. We talk about work-life balance, but kindness is something that actually helps a lot. I've been witnessing in my professional career. I'm 43 now. That means I'm working for 20 years now, and I've been seeing a lot of talented people in their work, especially in academic positions as universities and business schools, where no matter of their highly let's say gained skills or high level of education or expertise they own, if they lack communication skills, they cannot pursue their careers in the right direction, let's say, or they will never get the deserved reputation as experts. On the contrary, I've seen people around me who have let's say average or below the average expertise in the field, but they have amazing communication skills. They have soft skills and kindness that is remarkable, and they're moving forward in a way that is completely different and much faster and much well deserved, and everybody wants to be around them. So I think this stands for me, but it stands for everybody. We should not forget to be kind to ourselves and to our peers.
Definitely something that's been overlooked, and definitely something we really need to work on, because at the end of the day, we're working together, and teamwork can only make the dream work if the team works.
Exactly.
So, very important aspects. And now, with the question from my previous guest, we go from the future a little bit to the past. We've mentioned him before. Erwan was my last guest. He works as a creative strategist, and he came up with a very interesting question. So, Ljupka, if you had to give an advice to your 18-year-old self, what would it be?
Just one?
Yes?
Uh, it will be professional or personal, or both. It will
However you
definitely,
prefer.
yeah. No, it will definitely be keep going. You know what you're doing. Don't listen to the others. Because very young, I knew what I wanted to do and be, and but I was interrupted by the society and the environment multiple times, as probably you are at some points. But definitely, I would tell my 18-year-old version that I'm doing great and I'm gonna make it. Just keep on doing what you're doing and believing in yourself. And if you know what you want, that's fine. If you don't know what you want, that's fine. Again, it will come.
Very inspiring.
Yeah.
So, what question would you like to leave for the next guest without knowing who it might be?
All right. It would be, if you're about to change your profession radically, what will that be and why?
Super intriguing. Now I'm even more curious to know the answer of the next guest. And thank you so, so much for your time today. It's been truly inspiring, and it gave my last stretch of university some spirit, and will make it maybe a little bit harder now to leave these great minds behind. But also, as you said, your advice, if you don't know, like, it will work out. And I'm very curious to see how Rennes School of Business evolves, how our masters evolves. And yeah, just thank you so much for your time.
And thank you. And we're looking forward to see how are you going to evolve. And I'm pretty sure you're going to be shining bright. Whatever you do and wherever you go, it's been really privileged to be in the same classroom with you, to have you as my student. And I also learned a lot of things from you. And I wish you all the best. And thank you for inviting me in this podcast.
Thank you so much. It's been my pleasure. And also to the listeners who stayed in this podcast till the very last minute. Thank you for listening and bussi. Bye bye.
Bye bye.